Hello and welcome to episode 270. That's a lot of the Veeam Community Recap. I'm Rick Vanover, the Rickatron, and I'm joined today in normal circumstances by Madalena. How you doing, Maddie?
Hello, Rick, and hello, community. Yeah, I'm doing great, enjoying the summer. I like warm weather and keeping myself busy with a lot of projects, for our community. So that's fantastic. And you?
Oh, well, I'm dealing with summer as well. We were a little warm. We were like 35, 38. That's pretty hot. What are you running right now?
I think it's not that hot, probably around 30 to 35, but I kind of enjoy that type of weather, so can't complain.
So it's crazy. Yeah, I live in a world where I'm native with the metric system for temperature and distance. Not so I'm not there for kilograms yet. I am for liters. I'm good there. But anyways, so here's an easy one for y'all that use Fahrenheit. 16 Celsius, flip the numbers is 61 Fahrenheit. So 1 6 is 6 1. And then 28 Celsius is 82 Fahrenheit. Okay, so that's a really easy thing. And you could always say under 16 is cold and over 28 is hot. That's
Oh, that's a good trick, Rick. I didn't know it.
from there you can really kind of place a spectrum. Everybody knows zero, right? But that's a good trick. I'll share that one with y'all. So
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think it's going to help everyone to
it
have a
does.
better
It does.
perspective.
Yeah. And 30 and 40 are just really hot, so stay away. So
Exactly.
anyways, but yeah, we've got a rocking full docket of content. Vanguard blog spotlight, special department. Who's new? 270, bringing it all. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. First up, we have Edwin Morale, a recently enshrined Veeam Rising Star. So, congratulations on that, Edwin. And tell us what caught your eye about this one, Maddie.
Well, first of all, this is, I think, his first contribution on the Community Hub, so I had to celebrate it. But it's not only because of that. I really think this is a great blog in here from his own experience. I think he's sharing how he kind of also started as well with Veeam solutions. But what Edwin is describing in here is how his organization, used the version upgrade as a reason to actually challenge the existing design, which I think it's interesting. So instead of asking how do we get to Veeam 13, they were asking if we were to build the environment today, knowing what we know today, what would that look like? So I think that's a very, very interesting conversation. Um, what you're going to see throughout this article is from the virtual appliance architecture and immutable storage to Microsoft 365 protection and then centralized monitoring. And none of these decisions, from what I understood from this article, was treated as a standalone feature. They are all kind of part of the bigger picture and the bigger goal. Basically, what they were trying to achieve was to kind of build an environment that was simpler and stronger, and of course, much resilient, because we are talking about resilience in here. And the last few lines in the article are definitely one of my favorite one. He shared that his organization actually learned some hard lessons after a cyber attack. So he talks about the cyber attack. I know many companies don't really talk about that, but he's one of the customers that talk about it. I think he also presented at VeeamON a few years back in the US, and he told the story. And you can feel how all that, those lessons that they learned reflect throughout the design. So it's great that he's sharing all that. And I think if anyone plans to move, to Veeam 13 or to Veeam 13.1 that is coming soon, we discussed it in the previous, in our previous episode on Ken's post. I think this is worth reading because it really gives you a different way to think about the migration itself. It just gives you maybe you have to rethink the entire environment. It's not just like an upgrade. So overall, yeah, fantastic sharing here, Edwin, and thank you very much. And yeah, looking forward to work with you on the Rising Star
Yeah,
program.
this is great perspective, especially for a public sector organization, which it's always a little bit trickier uh,
Mhm.
in that in that segment. And one thing I'll just highlight, I love this. Like, hey, let's not lock ourselves this mindset. Let's not lock ourselves into what we can do. What if we were redesigning? And the beautiful thing about that mindset is that our backups can be imported. So it's very very helpful, especially like the migration from say the Windows PNR to the Veeam Software Appliance isn't fully productized yet. That's really exciting because you could just import backups and carry on. So there's the flexibility is there. So good stuff. Great to call your name here, Edwin. Look forward to more from you. All right, I picked this one, and Maddie said I'll allow it to be on the recap. This one is Marcus, aka Dynamic, talking about a configuration restore. Now, I got a few things to say about it, but did you give it a skim, Maddie?
For sure. I just have to say first that Marcus has a real talent, to just turn everything technical task into like really resources that the whole community can benefit from. So he's very creative. So, thumbs up for that and great job with it, Marcus. I mean, I'm always amazed, every time I'm like, okay, what else he's gonna come up with? So good stuff. But yeah, it all started from what I read. It all kind of started with a customer that was just asking for like a simple guide to restore a Veeam configuration onto the new Veeam software appliance. And instead of Marcus just sending him few notes or just pointing them to the documentation, Marcus actually created a complete step-by-step walkthrough with screenshots and all, of course, German. And he, called it, I really like the picture with the Vim configuration restore for dummies. So that's cool. Um, and then what I like is that he doesn't just show the restore itself in here. He walks you through the entire process from deploying the appliance and then configuring the security officer account and then MFA, all the way to the configuration restore, and then the final validation. And I think this can be very useful, if you are working with a new appliance architecture for the first time, because there are a few new workflows, like whatever he talks about, the security officer approval, and you definitely don't want to discover that in the middle of a recovery. So it's great, this is very thorough in there. And of course, at the end, being Marcus, he finishes with a checklist. And I really like that. I like when our community members finish with a checklist, um, because isn't it's the you don't really want to, in the middle of a recovery, to have to rely on on your memory. So it's always good to have a checklist. And yeah, overall, I really really enjoyed it. Thank you, Marcus, once again. And now I'm curious, what else you gonna come up with?
Yeah, I just think this is probably one of the more you know um, central parts here when it goes through the actual configuration restore. And I think it's just something that folks should know how to do, right? Because it's hopefully you never have to do it, but if you do, you want to at least have done it before. And the configuration restore is really an important area for um, addressing, say, a complete loss of sight, which we'll talk about here in a second, actually. But this is really great. Typical German, thorough as you can be, and very much appreciate this, Marcus. And the one thing I'll highlight is just if you're not doing a config backup, please do. Please also put a password on it. And in this case, he walks right through the complete restore. So I really like this one. Thank you, Marcus. All right. Speaking of complete loss of sight, you know what? Stabs in his stories. Holy buckets. What caught your eye on this one, Maddie?
I think this is another good one, and yeah, that's a good picture. But I think Philip makes a very important point right from the title. Because we often, when we talk about resilience, we are thinking, how to defend against cyber attacks, but sometimes, the biggest disruptions come from something much less dramatic than a cyber attack, and it's much harder to predict. So in this case, he shares a customer story where the customer basically lost both server rooms within 48 hours. And that was not because of ransomware, but because SSDs that were running for, I think he was saying, 8 years, reached the end of their life, um, at almost the same time. So I think this might be a rare scenario, but one that really actually shows us that resilience has to account for more than just cyber threats. So then, yeah, Stubbs Philip, he explains how they restored nearly 20 terabytes of data with Veeam. And one detail that was important in here is that, the Veeam servers were running on physical hardware, so they could actually start the recovery immediately without having to rebuild it first. So I think that was a little bit lucky as well. And yeah, Philip doesn't focus only on the recovery itself. He's also shares, and I think that brings value, the lessons they learned, with this case. And he's talking about repository capacity, recovery procedures, hardware support contracts, and then, of course, disaster recovery planning for the future. And yeah, as we know, and we say that a lot, resilience isn't just about having backups, it's about being really prepared for whatever would come your way. But I do have one question is, can you really be prepared for whatever comes your way? How do you do that? And I really want to challenge our community to let us know in the comments, how do you best prepare for whatever comes?
Yeah.
So
What could go wrong?
what exactly, what could go wrong? So that's why you kind of have to have that plan. But again, can you really cover for everything?
This is where the 3-2-1 rule is more important than ever. And then when we talk about two different data centers, that really kind of puts pressure on that 3-2-1 rule, because you could do the 3-2-1 rule with two different data centers because they presumably are offsite. But I want to really double down on this right here. Simultaneous failure of eight after 8 years of operation. Now this is actually something I used to really really think about when I would deploy hardware when I was a practicing IT pro. Is that, look, when like drive arrays, like I deploy a storage system, and you had to be prepared that once one drive failed, the others were about due as well, because they all went through the same kind of environmental conditions, the running, the temperature. They had this exact same duration of all of it, and they can all fail simultaneously. And actually, just to prove this, a very different world. No joke, Maddie. Okay, I'm going to use my drawing here. Bear with me. In my kids at the house, in the kids' bathroom, let's see, there's two light fixtures. They're not all equal. Bad drawing here. But there's a total of 8 light bulbs in this room. The big wall has like 5 light bulbs, and the other has 3. I came in one day, yesterday, or maybe it was Monday night. I came in, and 4 of the 8 light bulbs were burnt out, because they
Okay.
were all installed at the same time. But literally one day to the next, half of them died, maybe even 5. I can't remember. I was actually kind of frustrated because I'm like, I'm never buying this brand of light bulb again. But like, this is a truth. And the thing is, you implement something new and you're generally good. But for the hardware runtimes, holy buckets, this is a real thing. This
Yeah.
simultaneous failure. And it could be enterprise IT. Whoa.
But I think when you talk about hardware, it's always good to think about, life expectancy, because every piece should
Every
have a life
system
expectancy.
component.
And
Yeah.
exactly, so that should be as well added maybe on that
Mhm.
um, list.
And it's probably then a good idea to stagger, like always be modernizing. Don't do it all at once, right?
Exactly.
Every year, and then expanding to cloud and other targets to help scale it as well. But hey, this is, I think, Stabs, I think you're really scratching the surface on a deeper topic, and I think it's something we all should really take seriously. So thank you so much for sharing this.
That I think, Stabs, that's a challenge for you to, bring something more,
Yeah,
come
and
up with
and,
more.
and you had a client go through it, so this is real. This is a real problem. So awesome. Thank you
Yep.
so much for sharing it. And definitely sounds like it ended well. And that's surely because that client's at the good hands of you and Christopher. And I'm really glad to hear that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Totally.
All right, next up, Vanguard blog special department, and a featured post is Stephen Seagrave from Frontline Backup talking about ransomware insurance requirements and backup design. Oh boy, we're gonna have to give this one some thought. This is good.
I think this is the first time when we are calling Stephen on the Vanguard blog spotlight. He maybe in the past we called him if he contributed at the
Mhm.
community hub. I can't remember. We definitely called him for the VUG Ireland. And congratulations, I heard that went very well. But yeah, it was about time, right? And this is a good one. I think what Stephen is doing here in this article builds nicely on what Philippe was talking about earlier. So um, basically, Philip showed us why resilience isn't just about cyber attacks, and then Stephen takes it one step further and explained why organizations now need to prove that resilience, not just to themselves, but there are auditors and cyber insurance providers involved and the whole ecosystem. And that's where he talks about technologies like immutable repositories, MFA, sure backups, the new Linux based architecture in Veeam 13, and all these become super, super important. And they are not just security features anymore, they are kind of becoming part of how organizations demonstrate recovery readiness. So, one thing Stephen points out is that simply having an immutable copy in the cloud isn't always enough anymore. I'm saying always, but I think it's most of the time. More organizations are looking at immutable on-premises repositories as well, so they can recover faster while still kind of meeting the resilience requirements. And then he's also highlighting Sure Backup, which automatically verifies that backups are actually recoverable. And that's a much stronger answer than simply saying, yes, we have backup. So um, he's saying that recovery readiness is kind of becoming something you can measure and test and demonstrate. It's not just something you hope it works when disaster strikes. So I think overall it's good, and it came very well after Philip's article. So great stuff.
Yeah, indeed, Stephen. So thank you so much for this. And I think and this is why I love our community. They have the experience, the perspective to guide the clients through, right? So Stabs, Stephen, they're bringing this stuff to customers, right, with kind of proven designs. And I have my own kind of thought of what would be, the best design. And this is the classic IT thing. It depends. But the points that Stephen is bringing up transcend all the depends. These are facts. These are absolute truths. And same thing with what Stabs shared. So it's really becoming more of a business validation than just technical configuration and such. So really appreciate this one, Stephen. Good to call your name back again. Uh, for those who don't know, he's back in the program. Job changes and stuff. Life happens. I get it, but he is a good one. Thank you so much, Stephen. Rock on. All right. Speaking of those who rock, uh, Maddie has a post celebrating our announcement earlier this week for Legends class second half of 2026.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite announcements every year, right? So I just want to say big congratulations to, the second Veeam Legends class of 2026. For those that don't know, we actually have two intakes. One is, it used to be February. Now I think we are kind of moving it to January. It used to be August. Now we are moving it to July. Just in case you are interested and you are planning to become a legend, just to know your timelines. And yeah, everyone really has earned these through passion, commitment, helping others succeed. And I just want to say big thank you, for really making the Veeam community a really great place where we can all learn and grow and connect. And I'm looking forward to see everyone, in October at Veeam 100 Summit. I know everyone is interested to receive more information on that, but it's coming soon. And as you can see, it's still kind of the same group. It didn't grow much. I think we just added Nico, which is returning. But other than that, the group kind of looks the same. So yeah, welcome back, Nico, and welcome back, everyone. Happy to have you. You are really an amazing group.
Yes, they are, and thank you, Maddie. It's hard to do this, it, we don't really share the specific mechanics, but this path is super um, quantifiable because it's the contributions on Veeam properties, like the forums, like the R&D hub, and it's just a lot of work to curate this. So thank you, Madalena and Sophia. I think helped out as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, big. Thank you, Sophia, for all her support throughout the program. She's really amazing.
We should have a show dedicated just to thank you, Sophia, because she
Yes,
really
I
is
think
just
so.
like behind the scenes on everything, and we'll
Exactly.
get to
She's
her on
amazing.
another thing.
She's a really good one. Yeah.
I'm a big fan. Next time you see her, call her Hollywood because she's good on camera. So appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That
Thank
as
you.
well.
I don't think she's next door today, so I don't think she's hearing me, or else I'd get a Teams message. So, all right. Before I get myself in trouble, we'll go to the next topic. Veeam User Group Auckland, New Zealand. So probably a Ben is involved, and that looks like it's coming up on. I think that actually would
Next
be
week.
Thursday, 23rd, New Zealand time. So,
I'm not convinced on that, to be
well, because
honest.
if it's that time of day, that's afternoon for New Zealand for me,
Yeah, it's 1:30 a.m. your time. So yeah, most probably it's going to be
like an evening. Yeah.
yeah, the evening. Yeah, there you go.
Well,
So yeah, anyway, great stuff again. VUG New Zealand. This one is in Auckland. I think Jason did one few months back, and he did it like a road show, I think. So that went pretty well from what I heard. So really big thank you to Jason for putting this together. Um, I think, just great opportunities because they do it light, they do it fun. It's really good to connect if you have the time to attend this one. Good to connect with the Australian Veeam community, sorry, with the New Zealand Veeam community. And
that's
yeah,
the place. That's going to be fun. Love
yeah,
it.
it's gonna be fun. He's always doing it in fun places with really creative ideas. It was a caravan, I think, last time, so that's interesting. And then yeah, you have the opportunity to hear from Veeam because, as you said, I think maybe Ben is gonna be there. I don't know.
I
If
just
not,
guessed.
somebody
I just say
else.
Ben. I didn't say which Ben.
Yeah, you didn't say which band because
Yeah.
there are a few bands in there, so maybe all of them are gonna be there. Who knows? But yeah, yeah, and it seems like the main topic is gonna be around disaster recovery, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Thank you, Jason.
And one little side note, disaster recovery is the topic du jour here. And New Zealand has always really taken this seriously as a market. Typhoon risks, earthquake prone, and then on top of that, islands, right? So it's like everything about like just the geography has made that be a priority. And we see it in our business and the technical acumen of the teams and the customers there. So yeah, definitely a topic. So thank you, VUG NZ. All right, another Veeam user group event. This one will be a online experience with uh, Andre Dias from Adistec and Andre Puglia, our VUG Brazil leader. This one will be in Brazilian Portuguese, same day, and looking forward to this one as well.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good one as well. Ransomware protection, immutable backup storage, um, yeah, object first, integration with Veeam Backup Replication. Yeah, and some practical implementation tips. So I think this is going to be a good one as well. I think we had one was it last month? It was actually Joaquim and few others from the VUG leader side. So it looks like because it's a big, it's a big group, so it
Mhm.
keeps like going and having one event every month. So that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
no, Brazil and Germany, probably two of our strongest community markets, and just really impressive to see how they go. So, thank you, Andre and Andre, double A, Andre. What's the difference between Andre with the accent and Andre without? Maybe I need to know. I don't know.
And Andre, maybe Andre Puglia can tell
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
when
Tell us
he's
in the
able to
comments.
do that.
You know, or maybe Andre Puglia has it also, and just sometimes people don't put the accent character on that. Just
I
because.
think he does, yeah. I think he has it as well. I think in Portuguese, actually, it is with an accent, you
Ah,
know.
got
So,
it.
yeah.
Awesome. And then last up, Maddie, being curious through Veeam.com, you found a pretty cool piece of analyst research.
Yeah, this is a really new analyst report from what I've seen. I don't think we had it previously. So, this is from Omdia by Informa Tech Target. Is the first time when I'm hearing about it. I don't know if you know more about it. Maybe you can just let us know. But yeah, this is available on the Veeam.com website. I think it was on the homepage. So with the Gartner and few others. And I was like, I think this is a good read because AI is becoming obviously part of almost every organization strategy. So, we are not talking enough about what that means for data protection, for resilience. So it has really interesting statistics, and one of them is that one that 80% of organizations actually consider AI agents a top or high priority, which is very interesting. And I think that's going to just increase. And over half have already started deploying them. So that's another interesting statistics. But the reality is that AI adoption is actually moving much faster than the governance and security controls that we need in place or the organization need in place to support it. So then all that conversation becomes super interesting. And the report goes even further, showing three challenges that every IT team should be thinking about. Understanding AI agents, what they have access to, and making sure your data is actually properly classified. And we've been talking a lot about it through security AI, about classification and governance before actually AI starts using it. So, and the third one, I think it was about, you can download this report if you go to because this is just, I don't know. Are you now looking at the report? No, you are just looking at the page.
Well, I can't actually show the report. It's a little trick when it comes to the analyst things because
Okay.
we have to, when we redistribute the analyst research, the the downloads are sent back to the analyst as part of our commercial terms for it. So I can't show it to you. You got to go get it yourself, is what I'm saying.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, pretty cool. Yeah, then definitely go because I thought that was a really good read, and it also covers, the Veeam Agent Commander that we've been talking about it lately. And if you want to know more, it's a really interesting paragraph in there. And then it talks about precision recovery, which I think is a very interesting concept. But I'm not giving you more. You should go and download it. That's it.
Yeah, indeed. And, it does really give you the map of when we talk about the data and AI trust company. This is really the map of how to do it. So, how it looks. So, yeah, check that out over at Veeam.com. And let's switch over from the desk of Sophia. Again, another project she works on is the Who's New. We are happy to welcome plus 133 new members, with this one being hilariously awesome, crazy. IT Help, Gamer23, Witzel, and Olympias.
Olympias. Yeah.
Olympias. All right.
Sounds something from Greece. Let us know.
Possibly.
That's the place.
Possibly. So cool stuff. Thank you, Safi, for producing the Who's New, and thank you, Madalena, for an outstanding block of content for the week. And believe it or not, next week
Thank
we
you,
will.
community, for the outstanding.
Oh yeah, well, true. So thank you
know?
for curating it. Thank you, community, for making it. Actually, one quick thought: all of our content that we host, that we featured, is non-MVP, so non-employee. So it's all truly community. So I love that because we have the MVP stuff show up here and there. So that's an interesting one. So thank you, community, for sure, for sure. All right, next week I'll be back, normal circumstances as well.
A miracle.
A miracle. All right, friends. We will see you next time on 271, and we're still going to be having fun.